Guys, people are getting ready to come see Zoe, and they might not know what they're getting ready to do.
Yeah, so this is what we got going on at the mural painting, working in the space. Come on in, we can start this work. Come on in. So this is Zoe. Zoe is a two-toed sloth. So for this experience, normally the first sloth we see is Flash. But Flash is normally hanging on a bar in that kitchen out there that is not currently there because the mural painter is here. But my last pastor likes to talk about lagniappe, give somebody more than they expect, not less. So this morning we're going to do more than one thing. And that guy running around the floor is an armadillo. Good morning, Zoe. Yes, we'll hold you, sweetheart. So her name was almost Oof because she goes, Oof. You go to put her down because she wants to be held. So sometimes we get some keyboard warriors that are like, oh, it's stressful for a sloth to hold it and it's terrible to hold a sloth. You see how stressed this sloth is by being held, right? So normally with the first sloth, I'm giving you a lot more education, and then with the second sloth, we're doing more holding, snuggling. We're going to kind of run the experiences together today, but fear not, you're going to get more, not less. All right, so you guys are going to sit in the chairs over here in a minute and hold this sloth, and I'm going to show you how you hold a sloth. So you see how I'm supporting her underneath, right? If I don't support her underneath, she's going to hang on a whole lot tighter around the back because she would be holding on to not fall down. And but she's used to this. You guys both have collar. Oh, you're not bare-chested. Bare-chested, that's the wrong word. Sometimes when people show up in spaghetti straps, we have to put a shirt on or something because it can be a little pinchy. But if you just support her underneath, she's just going to leave her arms laying around you like that. She likes to be petted, but she likes to be petted at the speed of a sloth. She likes to be petted like that. She doesn't like to be rubbed or scratched or her hair rubbed the wrong way or any of that kind of noise. She is a sloth. She likes to be petted at the speed of a sloth, like this right here. And you guys are going to hold her, and I'm going to do the teaching part in here, and then we're going to move on to something else. So if you guys want to have a seat. And yes, it is crazy hot in here because it's always crazy hot where you keep a sloth. We transfer the sloth on her Snuggie. This is how she knows she's going to another person. We say, night-night, Zoe. Night-night. Yeah, she likes my hat. Night-night, Zoe. Here we go. All right. So let's put your necklace inside of your shirt. She'll definitely chew it. There you go. All right. Here we go, Zoe. And just support her under the back end right there. There you are. Get your hair off of her face. There we go. All right. And so Zoe is a sloth, obviously. Zoe is a Linnaeus, two-toed sloth. Alive in the world today, there are two-toed sloths and three-toed sloths. There are some basic differences between them. Some people are starting to call them two-fingered, three-fingered. When I talk quieter, should I have a microphone?
Just a little quieter. You're doing good, though.
All right. I should talk quieter than I am?
Yeah, now is good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get a little echoey in here because I don't really have an indoor voice. Yeah. Kevin's trying to order me an indoor voice on Amazon, but it turns out that there is an extremely limited number of things that they actually don't sell. I guess an indoor voice is called a gag. I'm not sure. But anyhow, so some people are starting to call them two-fingered and three-fingered because they all have three toes on the back feet. Two-fingered have two on the front. Three-fingered have three on the front. And they do use their front ones very much more like hands than feet, so it makes more sense to call them two-fingered, three-fingered than two-toed, three-toed. But that is historically the name of them. So other differences between the 2 and 3-fingered sloths. A 3-fingered sloth has more vertebrae in their cervical spine between their skull and their shoulders. So a 3-fingered sloth turns its head 270 around like an owl like this. A 3-fingered sloth has 3 vertebrae of a tail. A 2-fingered sloth has no tail. But they have the same number of vertebrae from end to end, so she has far more vertebrae from her shoulders to her hips, so she's capable of turning until her hips are 180 out from her shoulders, like that. So a 2-fingered moves more like a slinky, and a 3-fingered moves more like an owl. So, and the 2-fingered sloth is slinky-like in many ways. So their bodies are really long, so they have 46 ribs, 23 sets of ribs, far more ribs than we have because they're long and they're covering a lot of guts in there. And then for us, our guts sit in our pelvis and are upper banded by our diaphragm. So if we stand on our head for a long time, you know, it puts pressure on our diaphragm and makes it hard to breathe if you stood on your head for a long time. And so the sloth, because its attitude, altitude, you know, its body position is going to be all different at different times of the day. They have a lot of connective tissue that goes all back and forth through their body cavity, and it keeps all of their guts where their guts are supposed to be. So it doesn't matter that they're hanging horizontally upside down, vertically upside down, however they happen to be, their guts remain exactly where their guts are supposed to be. And it doesn't put pressure on their lungs the way that if we hung by our feet from like a bat, you know, it would eventually get hard to breathe. It doesn't do that for a sloth. That also helps the sloth if it falls, that, you know, stuff doesn't just wham and go all over the place. But we'll talk about that a little more later. So the main thing everybody knows about a sloth is that a sloth is slow. Sloths are famously slow, but sloths are slow in ways that you don't think about an animal being slow. So they're slow not only in their movement, they're slow in their digestion, metabolism, metabolic processes. They're slow in every single way that an animal can be slow. So, slow in their movement. If you're reading online, it'll tell you that a sloth can only move 12 feet per minute, even in the trees. Not true. So our sloth next door, his room is 20-something feet tall, and when he opened his door, normally in the mornings for his encounter, and say, "Hey, Flash," he just right down, and he comes down the tree, through the door, outside, and he's like, "Let's go, let's have a little breakfast time." And he comes from the top to the bottom in under 30 seconds, so that's got to be at least 40 feet per minute, right?
Yeah.
So they can move more quickly than what it might suggest online. But still crazy slow. I mean, 40 feet per minute, that's still only, you know, a third of a mile an hour or something. Slow. So, but they're slow not just and if they're on the ground, then that's, you know, genuinely slow. It's more like they have 4 arms and no legs than 4 legs and no arms.
Yeah.
So picture yourself on the ground trying to belly crawl across the ground and think about how fast you would be. And that's similar to a sloth. So that is one of the major factors in their deaths right now, is if a sloth goes across a road. You know, if it went perpendicular straight across and it's 50 feet across and it's moving 6 feet per minute on the ground, you know, that's 8 or 10 minutes to cross the street. And how many cars go by in 8 or 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So slow in their movement, slow also in their digestion. So they digest their food really slowly, but they eat crazy amounts of it. So a sloth eats 10% of their body weight every single day. That's sort of a ho-hum number till you think about it in human perspectives. I usually say I'm 180, but after the holidays I'm honestly closer to 200. So if I ate 10% of my body weight, this guy's trying to crawl up my leg. If I was eating 10% of my body weight, that's me rolling up to Outback and saying, "Bring me 20 of those 16-ounce porterhouse steaks," right? Obviously, that's not going to work. But a sloth really does eat 10% of their body weight every single day. And yet, they go to the bathroom only once in a week or 10 days, 3 or 4 times a month. They don't even tinkle between trips down the tree to go to the bathroom, solid and liquid at the same time. And when they do go to the bathroom, they're going to drop 1/3 of their natural body mass when they go to the bathroom. So again, put that to human perspectives. If I'm weighing almost 200 pounds, you're talking about a 60-some pound pile all at once. I mean, bag of dog food in a 5-gallon bucket, right? That's just frightening to think about. So the sloth, when it does go to the bathroom, comes all the way down the tree, same side of the tree, goes to the bathroom in the exact same spot every single time. So, the study of sloths is advancing over the years. If you look backwards to some of the things that they used to think about sloths and what they now think about sloths, there's some crazy information out there. So, one quick second.
If you guys want me to take any pictures with your phones, I definitely can.
So, tell me to grab another thing. So what was the last thing I said? Well, so the first theories on why a sloth comes down the tree to go to the bathroom was that they're just neat animals. Now, obviously this makes no sense at all, right? When a sloth comes down the tree to go to the bathroom, it is risking its life to go to the bathroom. So when the sloth is in the top of the trees, it is entirely safe from predators with the exception of eagles. And the reason that they're safe from predators in the tops of the trees is a grown sloth only weighs 15 pounds, so they can go much further out the branch than a predator large enough to threaten their life could go. So if the sloth weighs 15 and a jaguar weighs maybe 80, obviously the jaguar can't walk so far out the branch to get the sloth. And if the jaguar pressed the issue to the point that it got to the end of the tree and the branch broke and they both fell 80 or 100 feet from the canopy of the rainforest, likely the sloth will survive and the cat won't. So the sloth will just look over there and say, ha, ha, and back up the tree he will go. And the cat will be laying there dead. So the idea that he's coming down the tree because he's a neat animal, come on. You're gonna risk your life to be neat? Not unless you're Adrian Monk, right? So the second theory on why they come down the tree is that the sloth was fertilizing his own tree. Now again, scientists can come up with some crazy notions. That's how things start. We test theories and find out what's true and not true. So if the sloth is just fertilizing his own tree, because they used to think they only lived in one tree, anywhere he's in the tree and he drops his waste, it's going to fall under the canopy of the tree. Therefore, it'll go into the root system. So as far as fertilizing, it makes no difference where it falls, right? So why does the sloth come down the tree? So the actual reason why they come all the way down the tree, same side of the tree every single time, is because of the sloth-moth symbiotic relationship. So symbiotic means beneficial to both sides of the equation, where parasitic would mean beneficial to one side, neutral or harmful to the other side. So the nature of the symbiosis between a sloth and a moth is that the moth, there is a type of moth in the world called a sloth moth that lives nowhere on earth except in fur and in the waste pile of a sloth. So the reason that it does that is that the sloth is the food source and the living environment of the moths. When the sloth comes down the tree to go to the bathroom, the moths jump off of the sloth, lay their eggs in the waste pile, and then from there it's row, row, row your boat in and around. So every time that he comes down, there's new moths, because the eggs this week are the larvae next week and the moths 2 weeks from now. So he comes down every week or 10 days, there are always new moths ready to go up onto the sloth every time that he comes down. So the moths are eating the moss and algae that grow in the sloth's fur. That's their food source. The only two reasons that a moth will leave the sloth in their life is to drink water from a leaf that pools up in the top of the leaves up in the rainforest canopy, and to jump into the waste pile to lay their eggs. That's it. Beyond that, they live their entire life on the sloth. The benefit to the sloth, there's one definite benefit and a couple hypotheticals. So the definite benefit, sloths primarily digest their food, well, not primarily. Sloths require bacteria to digest their food. Don't let watch the
Blue trash bag is to the dump, yes?
Yes, to the dump.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. So the sloth requires bacteria to digest its food. Now, we also have helpful gut bacteria that are involved in our digestion process, but the sloth's bacteria is far more important to the sloth. He can't live without it. So, and I say he, I'm used to being out there with him. This is a she, Zoe is a her. So, getting a little tricky on the slide there.
Rail slides.
Yeah. These are starting to be more like that one on El Dorado, tripping around and stuff. So we also have helpful gut bacteria. Our bacteria colony will last for all of our life unless we take a long course of antibiotics. That's what kills our gut bacteria. And if our gut bacteria die out, we go to GNC and get some live culture probiotics, or we eat some good Greek yogurt and we're back to normal. Sloth doesn't have GNC, doesn't have Food City. He's on his own for the bacteria, right? So the source for the sloth's bacteria is the waste of the moths. What would kill our gut bacteria colony is antibiotics. For the sloth, what would kill his gut bacteria colony is cold weather. If he gets cold, it will kill his gut bacteria and the sloth will die. So when the sloth grooms himself, he licks up a certain amount of the moths themselves, that's a little bit of protein, and a certain amount of the waste of the moths, and that's how he replenishes the bacteria colony that help him to digest his food. Now they have the same chewing as us, they have even more going on in their stomach than us. They have a multi-chambered stomach. They're digesting some really crappy food. They mainly eat leaves. Leaves are primarily cellulose. Cellulose is hard to digest. So they have a lot of work to do to make their food into energy. But they're very efficient at it. So we said that he's going to drop a third of his body weight when he goes to the bathroom. But that does mean that he metabolized, as in converted to energy, 2/3 of what he ate. It's just that his primary food source is leaves. Leaves are a lot of cellulose, hard to digest, not so nutritious. So he's eating a vast amount of low quality food, kind of like a cow would. You know, cows have 4 stomachs to get the job done because they're eating nothing but grass. Sloths have 1 stomach, but there's different compartments of the stomach that do different things. So that's the known benefit from the moths, is that the bacteria colony. And if a sloth has no moths, it will die. The more hypothetical benefits to the sloth, as the moths live in its fur, they are fertilizing the moss and algae that are in the sloth's fur, which makes him far better disguised from eagles, which are the only predators that can get to him in the top of the trees. That one's, theoretical. The last one is peptids and leptids, and I would let you read that on your own because it'd take me the whole time to explain to you about peptids and leptids, but if you wanted to, you could read up on that. And the basis of the study is that a 3-toed sloth has the moths and beetles living more densely in his fur than a 2-toed does, because the 3-toed, when he comes down to go to the bathroom, he uses that little stubby tail to dig a hole in the middle of his poop pile before he goes. And that puts him in such direct contact with the poo that not only the moths fly up, but the larvae crawl up onto the sloth. So it has moths even more densely on it, and the three-toed has a higher concentration of peptids and leptids in its blood. That's the short of it. So slow in their digestion, slow in their metabolism. So they metabolize the food thoroughly, but slowly. And they're eating really poor quality food to begin with, which means that their energy budget is really low. So the sloth's energy budget is such that it cannot maintain its own body temperature. So it is a warm-blooded animal because it's a mammal, but it's a warm-blooded animal that can't stay warm. So their core body temperature follows the air temperature that they're in. So in the rainforest, that's not a problem. Daytime high is in the mid 80s, nighttime low is in the high 60s, and his core body temperature is going to follow the outside air temperature. So his core body temperature can change by as much as 15 degrees from day to night. And that's because his energy budget is too low to create energy to keep him warm. A female sloth can only make milk for their babies for about 3 to 6 weeks. They will stay with their mothers for longer than that, but 3 to 6 weeks is all that they can do to nourish them with milk because they just don't have enough energy in their energy budget to make milk for longer than that. And there's quite a few other things about them and how low energy animals they are, but again, that's kind of in the weeds, and this is a little more snuggling than, going to a college class. But so slow in their digestion, slow in their metabolism, slow in their metabolic processes. So that sloth is 13 months old. She weighs 10 pounds. The adult sloth is 6 years old. He weighs 15 pounds. And so body mass, she's nearly full size. But if you look at functions of her body, she's not anywhere close. So if Flash comes down to see us, and I'm not sure if he will or not, his claws are about that long. Her claws are about, I don't know, what are they, an inch, 3/4 of an inch, something like that. Let's see. Her claws are just this small. The adult sloth's claws are probably, I don't know, 2.5, 3 inches long. And if we see the adult sloth's teeth, he has got some serious fangs going on. She's got big teeth. She could do you some damage if she bit. But the big guy, his teeth are huge. That again, sometimes scientists can come up with some crazy notions about things. They're doing the best they can. But if you dug up the skeleton of a sloth, and sloths were no longer existent in the world, you could come up with some crazy notions about a sloth. Because they have giant teeth, they have huge claws, they've got big long limbs. Surely if you dug up a skeleton of one of these, you would be drawing up some sort of an apex predator, right? Not a slow, peaceful animal who lives in the trees and hides. And these are prey animals. They are going to die being caught by a predator if they're in the wild. That is what they're gonna die of. So in the wild, metabolic processes, they're going to live about 20 years is what the thought process is, about 20 years. I don't know exactly how you come up with that when they're going to die of predation, but that's the idea. In captivity, they live much, much longer. In captivity, the Smithsonian had one that was 49. There was one in Germany that was 52. There is one in China that is rumored to be much, much older than that, but it's China. We don't necessarily believe China, right? I can tell you from personal knowledge that the two breeders that I am very familiar with, each have a female sloth that is over 35 years old and still reproducing. And no one can tell you for sure that it's true of sloths, but every other large mammal, it's true that they do not reproduce females in the last half to third of their life. So if they don't reproduce in the last half to third and they're 35 and still reproductive, that would suggest they could still live a very long time. The guy who we get our baby sloths from, who is a doctor of veterinary medicine, been involved in sloth conservation for about 30 years now. He's got sloths that he's had for more than 30 years. And so he wouldn't even postulate what the max age is on a sloth yet until he starts to see some sloths die of old age. But he's not a young man, so it may be his son that eventually tells us what they think the maximum lifespan of a sloth is. Not sure that I'll be qualified to tell you either. But so slowing their movement, slowing their digestion, slowing their metabolic processes. Overall, story of the day is sloths are slow. Some other things about a sloth. Their vision is horrible. They can't see the difference. Well, usually we're feeding them some breakfast right now. We'll see if we feed them some breakfast or not. It just depends if he comes down the tree, you know. We interact with our animals in the way that they're comfortable with, not necessarily what I want them to do. And if on a particular day they don't want to, they don't. It's just the way it is. But normally I'm holding a green bean and I tell you, you can't see the difference between this and this. And because their vision is terrible. They have a structure of their eyes called rod monochromacy, which means that they have all rod cells, no cone cells. So they have no color vision whatsoever. And they're beyond just seeing in grayscale, their vision is horrible. They can't see at all. So if you were seeing her eyes right now, she probably is sitting there with her eyes just closed like this, kind of focusing in on her senses that are working for her. Their primary senses are smell and hearing. So they hear extremely well and they smell extremely well. So they for better or worse, the sloths know what I sound like and they know what I smell like. Winter and summer both. I never change colognes and I work hard, so they always know what I smell like. And when I open the door and I say, "Hey, Flash," he comes scurrying right down. And when we came in here, he saw the way of the Zoe, you know, I'm like, "Good morning, Zoe." And here they come, because they like us. I usually start these encounters, and I forgot to do that today. I usually start these encounters saying, while you watch what we do from online, do not get the idea that it is a good idea to buy yourself a pet sloth. It is not. You could probably tell people how extraordinarily warm and humid it is in here. You probably do not want to keep your house 80 degrees and 50% relative humidity all the time. You could deal with your makeup running one day, but not every day, right? So, and then the biggest reason why we are against people having sloths as pets is if you paid less for your sloth than you paid for your car, you are getting an animal that was kidnapped out of the rainforest to be a pet. And we are vehemently against the trade of animals that were kidnapped out of the rainforest. It's bad for their population numbers and it's bad for the animal itself. So you will read online that it is stressful for sloths to be held, that it messes with them in every single way to the point that they're going to die in a couple of months. You will read that it messes with the biosphere that is in their fur, with the moths and the moss and the algae and the bacteria and everything in their fur, that petting them messes up their biosphere in their fur. And in the case of a wild-caught sloth, I 100% agree with every one of those statements. Before I knew much about sloths, I went to the sloth holding thing, and I'm not going to name them because I don't name people that just because I disagree with them. But I went to the sloth holding thing while I was on a cruise, and thought it was just great that we were holding sloths. It was only later that I learned that those sloths have an average lifespan of only 2 months, because it is hideously stressful to them. But you know, they grab more out of the rainforest, and kill all you want, we'll grab more. So I wouldn't do that again. But it was super cute when I did it. I just didn't understand the difference between ethical treatment of animals and financial treatment of animals. So, and then if you are in the States and you're looking at sloth encounters, you can compare mine to others. My sloths can be booked 2 times a day, and that is it. So you can look at other sloth encounters and see that you can book them every 15 minutes for 10 hours of the day. And when you're at our sloth encounter, you can count the people that are in this room. That would be 1, 2, plus, you know, the staff. So yeah, 2 people. Max of 4. Sometimes if we have a family of 4 that will book, you know, 2 spots back to back, there might be 4 people in the room, but never more than that. You go to other sloth encounters and there might be 30 people in the room and they're just passing the sloth all around. That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
And if you see our sloths, they've got huge, sharp teeth. There are other places that pull the sloth's teeth so they cannot bite you. That is, in my personal opinion, a reprehensible thing to do to an animal just to make money. And so our encounter here is very, very different than other places you might go. But still, we do not recommend you buy a sloth for a pet. Did you want to turn to hold her before we go to the next thing?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. That is the holding chair over there, so let me get the sloth and you two can swap places. Did you got pictures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. Night, Zoe. We say to her, night. And that lets her know that she's moving to a different person. And here we go. Just want to swap seats there. Oh, good girl, Zoe. Good girl. I see frogs all over y'all's things. You don't happen to build poison dart frog tanks, do you?
I don't, but my dad used to deal with a lot of poison dart frogs.
I have a 170-gallon aquarium upstairs that won't hold more than 10 inches of water.
Yeah.
And I've resealed it 3 times. And I am looking for someone to make it into a poison dart frog tank. And so, yeah, if I see the frogs, if you guys know somebody that does frog tanks, I'd very much like to hear from them.
I can talk to my dad because he had thousands
Too fast.
of. I'm sorry.
Too fast. He had a lot of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we need is somebody that can make our 170-gallon aquarium into a dart frog tank. I'll show it to you before we leave. But so the other things about a sloth, the hearing of a sloth is excellent. As you see her laying there and her eyes are closed, she's not asleep. She's just focusing in on what she does well, which is smell, hearing, and tactile. With a lot of our animals, we find that animals mirror people, especially with horses. If you get an excited, jittery person on a horse, it's not going to be a good day. The horse is going to get jittery and excited. If you get a sloth on a jittery, excited person, the person's going to slow down to the speed of a sloth. When you hold a sloth, there is just a calmness, a chill that overcomes you that you just really can't explain unless you held a sloth. And so Kevin and I keep saying one of these days we're going to do it. We're going to put a heart monitor on somebody before they walk in to hold a sloth and, a blood pressure cuff and just see what happens. But we need one of those, like a hospital one that does it all the time, but those things make so much noise. My daughter's in med school. I'll have to ask her about how to do that. Probably more importantly, she's a nurse. Med school has very little to do with that. But anyway, so their claws, the claws, their last bone of their finger is inside of the claw. So you have to be careful if you're trimming a sloth's claws. If you look in our environments, you see that we keep the bark on the trees so that their claws wear down naturally as they climb around inside of their environments. So we pretty much don't ever have to trim their claws just because it's humid in here, so the bark stays on the trees a long time, and we only use hardwoods so you don't get sloths with sap on them. And so it works on their claws in a natural manner. A lot of people aren't aware that sloths have ears. Sloths' ears are just as big as our ears are, proportional to their head. That's Zoe's ears right there. See that? They're just like 80s rock stars that you wouldn't know that they had ears unless you went digging in their hair. And they have another way of compensating for their lack of vision, and that is that that is they have an excellent sense of spatial awareness. So when they're cruising around in their home range of trees, doesn't matter if they can see or not, they just remember where everything is. Although I've read that it is a thing that a sloth can sometimes grab onto a branch, grab their arm with their other hand and let go with the first hand and fall. There's a couple of sloth places out there that say sloths fall out of a tree as often as once a week. I don't know if I believe that because I've never seen a sloth fall, but you know, I'm not dealing with wild sloths, so I'm not really qualified to speak to that. But yeah, sloths are pretty amazing animals. So is this, what's the tat?
Oh, it's from an anime.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about anime.
We're gonna have our own anime soon.
John Man.
Basically.
He had me 3D modeled last week. He showed me the first pictures of the 3D modeling. I'm like, who's that?
The phase was off a little bit, you know, when you set up the rigging and everything, but we're getting there. I figured it'd be kind of cool to have the animals as animes, but actually interacting and talking.
Yeah.
So I have some scripts where they're talking back and forth, and like Flash is answering like, "Oh, are we gonna go look at some more animals?" So it'll be really funny.
Too fast though.
Yeah.
That thing is Utopia where he tells a joke and then
Right.
the sun's gone. So to really understand the humor of that, I think you have to lived in Virginia. So I moved here from Virginia, and in Virginia, if you have to go to the DMV, you have to take the day off work. It's an all-day thing. So I'm retired from the Navy, and when I was enlisted in the Navy, if you wanted a day off, you had to put in a special request. CHIT is what they call it. And if you just want a day off or something, you need like a 3-point paper on why they ought to give you the day off. But if you have to go to the DMV, you just hand in the CHIT and you write DMV across the top of it, and that's it. And when you put in your DMV day off CHIT, it's automatically approved for 2 because it's not at all uncommon that you don't get through the DMV in one day. And when you come back to work, you have to keep your paper to show that you signed in before 9 a.m. Because if you don't have your ticket before the door opens, there's a 0% chance you're going to get through that day. And you have to show them when you pulled the ticket and when your service was done, because it's often goes into the second day to go to DMV. And so I think that it's fairly obvious to my mind that whoever drew up that movie scene had been to the Virginia DMV. Now we live here in Benton, Tennessee, and if I want something from the DMV, I go down to the local courthouse, and the friendly woman's like, "Hey, John, what you need?" And 5 minutes later, I walk out with what I came for. And if I forget something, I'll be like, "Well, just bring it back to us whenever." Not at all that way in Virginia. They're like looking for a reason to deny you service.
I couldn't even take my driver's license test in the town I grew up with because they were only open one day out of the month. So I had to go somewhere else. That's how small it was in Dawsonville.
Huh. Where are y'all from?
We live in Johnson City. She's from Gate City, though.
I heard that in a song. Johnson City, Tennessee. Who sings that?
Darius Rucker.
Oh, yeah.
It's right near Bristol.
Yeah. You know, honestly, I think I liked him better as Hootie and the Blowfish. What do you think? Hootie and the Blowfish or Darius Rucker?
They're both good.
Yeah, he had some good hits with both of them. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I first got to know that music when he was Hootie and the Blowfish, so then it seemed kind of strange.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's kind of like, you know, all of a sudden Post Malone is a country singer or something like that. Next thing you know, Eminem's going to come out with a country song.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And that's because everybody wants to be country like me and Kevin, right?
Yeah. And Vlad.
Yeah, Farmer Vlad. My son these days calls himself Farmer Vlad. It's funny.
And Trapper Vlad is equally hilarious.
Yeah, 2 raccoons this morning. That's why he's gone, is driving them to the forest. One of them just about destroyed his trap.
I believe it.
Raccoon had to squeeze into that trap. He's live trapping him to relocate him.
Yeah.
We didn't used to worry about it so much, but possums carry toxoplasmosis, which is fatal to kangaroos. And raccoons are heck on birds. And we lost, last year I raised 150 some chicks and lost them all to predators. And I don't know why my dogs aren't doing the job on raccoons, but whatever. It's coyote, you know, they'll leave it in pieces, but man, I have never seen Baku so active.
He's on it. I think he's grown a lot too, because I was picking him up this morning and he's definitely gotten bigger.
Really?
Yeah.
They tell us the maximum size of this guy's gonna be the size of a soccer ball. I'm gonna have to see it to believe it.
Is he a normal armadillo or?
No, he's a Brazilian three-banded armadillo. He is from Brazil, and they're the only kind that close up into a complete ball, so that he's a perfect, well, not perfect sphere, but there's no opening.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to part 2. We're gonna see if Flash comes down or not. Kevin, you gonna lead the way?
Do we want to do something with Zoe there?
I'm gonna put her back.
Oh, okay.
And we're gonna go on to the next thing. Let me grab the stuffy. Oh, night, Zoe. Come here, baby. Oh, what a good.
It's
Hey,
alright.
Did anybody get a picture of him?
Yeah, she took pictures of it.
Oh, good girl. You ready to take a nap?
Guys, we're going to be seeing Zoe. Excuse me.
So, well, you're gonna not come down, but fear not, we have a backup plan. So this is Flash's room. Flash is up there in his hammock. He may or may not decide to come down and see us while we're in here. But since he's not out yet, we will go to plan B.
Sit right there if you want, sir.
You guys aren't old enough to know the movie Roots, right?
No.
Remember Roots, Kevin?
Yes, we had to watch it in
It's called
school.
Me in the Army. When plan A don't work, use plan B. Here's plan B. All right, come here, baby. This is Dash. Dash is our newest baby sloth. Dash is 5 months old. Zoe is 13 months old. And Dash is just as cute as the day is long. He is a boy, Zoe is a girl. And Zoe is all about the slow and don't mess with me. Dash is little, he doesn't mind so much if he touches feet. He doesn't mind if he rubs his little ears like this. He's just a cute little baby. Would you like to hold Dash?
Yes.
All right, here you go. He likes to hold on your arm. He also will lay on your neck, but he can be cute and lay on your arm too. Oh, he wants to go for the neck. So Dash is 5, getting on 6 months old now, I think. And so our baby sloths are different than our adult sloth. Our adult sloth gets thrown off his groove by things like somebody painting a mural and the smell being a little off and whatnot. But here in a minute, I'm going to open the door because he hasn't been outside in a month. And it's in the high 60s, so we might be able to let him outside just for a few minutes. So at the end of this, I'm going to open the door because he likely will be pretty excited about going outside. He may or may not come down, I'm not sure. But our baby sloths here come to us, I mentioned, from a doctor of veterinary medicine who's been in sloth conservation for about 30 years now. He has got the most genius plan for raising baby sloths to be people-oriented. So his mother animals are all clicker trained. So click, click, click. I'm gonna take your baby, but it'll be right back. And so it doesn't stress the mothers, and therefore it doesn't stress the babies. So we mentioned that a mother sloth can only make milk for about 3 to 6 weeks, but the baby sloths start eating solid food from day 4 of their life. And so at day 14, he starts holding the baby sloths every single day. So click, 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 take the baby, 30 seconds first day, 45 seconds the next day, a minute the next day, so on and so forth, until by the time that the mother sloth has weaned her baby of her own volition, the baby sloth is being held for 30, 45 minutes at a time, several times a day. So they get all these social and nutritional benefit of being a mother-raised animal, while at the same time getting all the social benefit of being a people-raised animal. So these guys are actively seeking human attention. You see the way that they like to climb up onto people, they like to hang on you, they like to just chill and do what you do. The downside to being my wife is she is the business person of this venture. So she is, many hours a day on the phone, computer, texting, answering emails, whatever. The upside is she has a sloth hanging around her neck just about all of the time. So this guy only comes, he's still young. Zoe just started to transition down here on her birthday. Her birthday is December 16th. That's when she started to transition from the house to the exotic animal spaces. And she still isn't fully transitioned. She some days sleeps in the house, some days sleeps down here. And Dash won't start to transition down here until he's about a year old. And so the first year of their life, they are just, people, 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 people. But a very limited number of people. So they are being held by people, my wife, the staff, for as much as 10 hours a day, as they choose. We don't make them do anything, but if they want to be held by people, they can. And I would say on average they're held for somewhere around 10 hours a day until they get to be a year old.
John, can you switch with me?
Yeah, sure. It's the lightness and you won't.
No, it's just really good. And then I'm gonna take some pictures for them also.
Oh yeah, here you go.
If you want, I'll take some.
And to be clear for our online audience, this is not the normal thing that we do. Holding Dash is not the normal thing that we do. Dash is a separate experience, and Dash is involved in the baby sloth cuddles. It runs at 5 and 5:30 in the afternoon. And the only other way you would see Dash is if you were doing Sloth Keeper of the Day. And Sloth Keeper of the Day is the newest experience. That is a 3-hour experience. And we have to block out all of our other encounters to do that one.
Okay. He turned his head. Do you want to hand me your phone again?
So how far is Johnson City from here?
3 hours.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No, it wasn't too bad.
We do have people that come here from all over the country and all over the world.
Yeah.
So I think the only 2 foreign visitors we've had so far this year are Manitoba, Canada, and Queensland, Australia. But we've had people from Seattle to Miami and from San Francisco to Boston. No, the one lady was Maine, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Delaware. We've had Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, South Carolina, North. People come from all over. So 3 hours not bad.
I always turn at Johnson City when I'm going to like Beach Mountain and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do y'all do?
She's a nursing assistant at the VA hospital, and then I work at Panda Express.
Cool. Man, Panda Express is paying crazy down here.
Yeah, I make $20 an hour as a cook.
Yeah, that's the same here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a sign up during COVID. It was 17 for the line and 21 for the cook. And I think that now that COVID's done, they probably backed off that a little bit, but yeah, $20 an hour. And man, I love Panda Express, but I gotta tell you, that bourbon chicken that they had and then they got rid of it,
Yeah, it was
bring it
good.
back.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
one of the really good ones.
I don't know what they were thinking about getting rid of that bourbon chicken. I could eat that every day. So yeah,
I don't eat it much, and that when we had that, I kept eating it.
yeah, customer feedback. Bring back the bourbon chicken for Pete's sake. So what kind of nursing do you do?
I'm a nursing assistant. I work on a med-surg floor.
Oh, okay. My one daughter was the charge nurse of the COVID unit during COVID, and then she was the trauma after COVID was down, but they get surge on that floor too. And you know, she's at Oklahoma City, so they're the only level 1 hospital in Oklahoma, so they get all the, you know, big wrecks and stuff in there.
I used to work in a nursing home. I like long-term care more, but
Yeah.
I started working at the VA about a year ago. So they don't have a nursing home.
I work in long term. My mom has Parkinson's, and she's lived with me for years. It's different when it's your mom, though.
Yeah.
You could stink.
So is it an occasion?
Yeah, we both have to work Valentine's Day. So
Yeah.
it was our day off before
Yeah,
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Right, there you go. There's a video online that people think I shaved because Kevin recycled a video from last year that I was riding a horse saying, fellas, let me give you a little advice. When you guys been at it a while, do not screw up Valentine's Day.
You had some really funny comments that I just replied to, but one guy was like, "You're wearing tennis shoes and you don't have a helmet. This is the worst commercial ever." And I was like, "Thank you. Come visit anytime." I just don't even get into it.
Yeah. And when I rode motorcycles, I used to love the Shoei commercial. If you've got a if you've got a $50 head, wear a $50 helmet. Because Shoei helmets, even in the 90s, were, you know, $350.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a very effective commercial, but, you know, I don't wear a helmet when I walk up a ladder either. That's a lot further fall. And I've got a second secret weapon that person probably doesn't know about. I don't fall off the horse. That's the level of genius that may not have occurred to them. Is he licking your shirt?
Yeah.
And don't let him nibble though. He's a baby, so we're still.
He's trying to bite me.
Just take your hand out of his mouth. Hey, Bo. Don't do that. He's like a puppy, experiencing the world with his mouth. So when they're tiny like this, we do have to, you know, nudge them away from that behavior. Because when you see this sloth, the teeth on a big sloth, you want them to learn when they're little. Sloths are like panda bears. With big, huge, vicious teeth on a peace-loving creature. Do you want to return to hold dash?
Yes, sir.
All right. Come here, baby. Oh, good boy. Good boy. There you go. Walker's under the plastic.
I know, I got him out once.
So if you feel their feet, they feel just like a monkey's feet. And isn't it? Take a picture right there, Kevin. See the way his foot's just turned sideways? Sloth's feet move crazy weird kind of way. See the way his arm goes and then it takes it right. But their feet, if you feel the paws of his feet, they feel just like a monkey's feet would. And you see the way the grippy part of his claw of his hand is so long compared to his claw right now. So that design is so they can grip a wide variety of size of branches, so that if they can get their claw even partway around, then that grippy part of their hand will stick to it.
Yeah.
So the full-size guy up there can grip anything this size on down, one-handed. And if it's that size on up, he lumberjacks it. And if you're looking up there, that big plate glass window, that's the camel condo upstairs.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do, but then I realized it's a little bit for just
Pricey.
2 people. I don't think it's that much. It's just for 2 people. It's
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're staying in Nashville, you'd spend that on just a plain old hotel. You just gotta plan to do it when you get to it. A couple's come with you. And it's cheaper than a hotel.
Yeah.
Those hand tattoos look like they would just hurt.
This one, it's the smallest one I have, but I'll never do anything else on my fingers.
The part on my finger was the worst part, but
Put on the knuckle.
well, yeah, right around there, the whole thing. He kept telling me to quit moving my hand, and I was like, I'm not doing it on purpose. It's doing it by itself.
Put your wallet in your teeth for that one.
I think I just have to get him to strap it down.
Yeah.
You know, like put it in some kind of grip.
I don't know, I guess to be honest, probably most people get hammered before.
I couldn't do that.
I don't know.
I think back in the day that was standard protocol, but I think now they kind of like, are you sure you can sign this?
I don't know, well, I won't say that, I'm not. I saw this thing the other day. Guy said he was never taking another gummy because he watched a movie and sobbed for 2 hours because he thought he was deaf. Because the TV was on mute. I doubt it was true, but it made me laugh like anything. Alright, so we can't leave the baby exposed to the cold for long, but I'm gonna open this door and see if Flash wants to go outside. He's a little more robust, and it's the warmest day we've had in 2025. Hey, Flash. Hi, Bubba.
Just watch your head when he's moving that.
Hey, Flash. Hey, you wanna come outside, buddy? Flash.
Do you mean get something for him to smell, some of the food or something?
Grab a banana or something. He's only gonna be able to have a tiny bite of it because we're still
Yep.
on no fruit, but rather smell that than. Hey, Flash. What you doing, baby? Usually the gift fridge is right outside of this door, but
Yeah.
tune in next week when we'll have a gorgeous, hopefully, mural. Hey, Flash. So we'll soon be having live cameras that you can like use for screensaver or something if you want to.
Yeah.
If you work at a desk. I guess you don't need that where you work, but since you don't have to be bored out of your mind sitting at the desk, which would kill me. But anyway, that camera up there is what will be in Flash's room. So if you're trying to orient later, just know that the camera's up there and you're looking down.
Yeah.
I guess Flash is sleeping hard. You know what though, actually we were gonna go look at that frog tank anyway, so if you wanna see him from the top, we'll look at him from the top. Oh, is he moving? Flash. Hi baby.
His nose is hanging off this side. Can I see that banana? I can blow it right up in there. There you go. He's moving.
Oh, here he comes. He's like, well, I suppose. You guys are gonna get a very unique view. Usually he's already down when people come for the experience. I'm gonna stand around here, Kevin.
These calls are a lot longer.
Very much. Makes Zoe look like she's still got baby fat, right? He's a lot more lean, mean sloth machine. Not mean though. Hey, Flash. Look, the outside's open, buddy. Well, hi, baby boy. You wanna come see us? Hey, buddy. Good morning, Flash. Oh, hey, dude. Come here. You want to come outside? A little sunshine, a little fresh air. Good boy. All right, baby boy. You're a good boy, Flash.
You guys didn't know you were in National Geographic, did you?
Good boy, Flash. All right, buddy. All right, so I'm gonna put Dash away. 'Cause it is a little cool out here for Dash. You guys can go out there and see Flash. Hey, baby. Come here, Dash. Oh, good boy. You wanna go back and see Mom?
He's like, do you have food? John, do we want to give him any food? Okay. Once he gives some food, he'll kind of give you some ground rules. But the reason you don't want to try to like really pet him now is because he doesn't have great vision. So we'll work through the steps of how you guys will feed him. So when they're looking around, if you put your hands kind of like over your eyes like this, like a telescope, that's what his vision's like. So he can't see well at all. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Bubba? Want some news? like, what the heck? He says, I was really expecting a sweet potato, to be honest with you. Here we go. Couple sticks.
I'm gonna set this banana up or he's gonna get to it. He's probably gonna chase me down now. Slowly. But you saw how fast like he came down, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times when he's done and he's going back up, you're like, that's not moving that slow.
He's so big.
And so Zoe actually weighs not much less than him. But obviously like her claws and her fingers and everything else is still growing. But
Yeah.
it'd be pretty interesting if we ended up with a big old sloth.
You guys pick a great day to come. I'm getting the next one so he knows he's still getting breakfast. Hey, Flash. She said your favorite animal is a sloth. Have you ever seen one before?
We went to Miami last month and we seen one, but we weren't able to like actually see it. It was dark. We went to a different thing,
Yeah.
so but it was dark and we seen him like swinging and
Yeah.
eating some whatever was in there.
Right.
But it was dark, so I couldn't really get a good look at him.
Mm-hmm. So did you have any idea where you were coming today?
No.
It's kind of cool that you can't tell when you pull up. It's very, when somebody pushes the button that says we're here for the encounter, I know that there's somebody in the car that doesn't know. So we make sure that we don't ruin the surprise before they actually have the visual. Oh, there he is. Hey, Flash. Hey, Bub. He's like, I don't know, my favorite spot outside or sweet potato. Let me think. He literally hasn't been outside yet this year, so he's pretty into it. He's like, what is in my way? That branch isn't there to block you, it's just for him to climb. You're welcome to step across it. It's just that you're in the sloth's house, he's not in your house.
He would be the world's worst cook at the buffet place. Or what's the name of the place you work at?
Panda Express.
Yeah, he would not be a good line cook.
I don't think you keep up with the pace.
I barely can. Just
After church on Sunday, I usually like to go to either Panda Express or Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
that's what a lot of people like to do. I think it's somewhere in the Bible it says God said, "Let them eat panda."
Probably.
John, there's a nest up here we need to get out,
Okay.
just in case I forget.
Zoe has never seen her outside yet. I haven't even finished building it because she has never been out.
She was really climbing well this morning. See how she's starting to really
Oh,
climb
yeah.
down? Yeah. So these will go up right away on Facebook and YouTube, but I'll cut down the one on TikTok with basically all the highlights.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it back up on everything. Because this is awesome, him just sitting there chomping.
That light's good.
I think he thinks about it. Like, should I do 2 more chomps or just 1?
Do you guys have to do anything to like simulate the moths or?
So we monitor their poop.
Yeah.
So if it was too dry, that means that he needs more fruit because that causes bacterial growth, right? And then if it was too runny or so wet, then we would limit the amount of fruit because that fructose promotes bacterial growth.
Okay.
He's like, I want to go right where you are. Please move. So I'm probably going to move for him. I'll come over here. No, you're good. I can just spin over here. Get out of your way.
He's probably about done eating. I don't know. Looks like he's coming back around, maybe. Looking for a nice place to take a nap. This is why we are not open to the general public in our quiet area.
All right, guys. So that. Do what, John?
You have a banana in your pocket.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw that out before you sit on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator. Guys, so that's Flash we're doing a sloth experience there. I'm gonna walk outside with you so you can see some of the other animals.
Tiniest bite of that.
These are some of our llamas and alpacas here. This is Llama Del Rey and Tyler. Tyler's the one with the white because dude looks like a lady. Pretty cute. Let's go out here and check out the kangaroos. Looks like Ed and Abu are out here chilling. This is Ed and Abu, two of our camels, and they're sweethearts. See if Abu wants a little scratch. Guys, we're located in Benton, Tennessee, halfway between Chattanooga and Knoxville. Hey, Abu. Hey, baby. Hey. Hey. Thank you. Thank you. There you go. Another scratch. Good boy. Good boy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So Abu is a sweetheart. And over here, you can see the covered wagons. And that's Ed, one of our other camels. And right here, you have the kangaroos. They're hanging out, getting some sun, just enjoying life. And we're gonna see if I can show you guys the zebra. So this is Marty the zebra, hanging out on this beautiful day at a Coe Riverside farm, enjoying life. And you got the wagons right there behind them. So you can see that you can stay in a wagon and see all these awesome animals. It's pretty cool. Think about all the countries you would have to travel to be able to see these animals normally. Let's see if that grabs the Wi-Fi. How's the audio and video now? What do you mean the animals are suffering? All right, guys, I'm gonna head inside because we got a lot more stuff to do today, but I just wanted you to see some of these awesome animals. Come visit, it's amazing. We're gonna head in. Just wanted you guys to see all the animals. Right here is Chilhowee Mountain, and look how beautiful that is. And this here is rough. Well, they're not wild animals, so Well, it looks like you're getting a little too excited there, Samara. I'm sorry. Hey, Ruff, you want a kiss, bud? You chilling? You want a kiss? Hey, Ruff. You want a kiss? A lot of times, guys, he'll come and give you a little kiss, but I think he's enjoying the sunshine. Hey, Ruff. So Ruff is one of our adult male kangaroos, and he is unneutered, so that's the reason that he has that really awesome red color, that rust color that you see. So we have 4 kangaroos out here in the main area: Ruff, Tough, Damani, and Alora. And pretty sure Damani or Alora is pregnant, which is awesome. So we're gonna have baby kangaroos born right here on the farm. And we already bottle feed baby kangaroos. We have Tom and Jerry inside, and Rosie and Josie. So if you've ever wanted to come bottle feed baby kangaroos, you can do that. And the reason the animals are all just lounging is because it's almost 70 and it's been cold the past month, and they're living their best life because it's nice to get outside and just relax. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on again maybe this afternoon, if not definitely tomorrow, and we have a lot of exciting things happening. Keep checking, following us on all the social media, and we'll let you know about all the great stuff. Come visit. Talk to you later.